absolutely every single penny of this money to her. Shrugging your shoulders, it's gonna be $20,000 before you get it. Oh, roll your eyes, $20,000. If it were true, you didn't have a damn bit of business putting it out on the internet.
This case is being heard by Judge Hatchett, and on one side we have the plaintiffs, Richard and Katherine James, a married couple. On the other side is the defendant, Grace Taylor, who is not just a stranger, but Katherine's own sister. Now that alone already tells you this case is deeper than money, it's personal. Katherine and her husband Richard have brought Grace to court, suing her for $6,000 for defamation. According to Katherine, for the past 3 years, Grace has been posting online accusations claiming that Richard cheated on her. And even worse, that he cheated with Grace herself. But it doesn't stop there. Katherine also claims that Grace shared her private medical condition, Crohn's disease, publicly online, making jokes and humiliating her in front of others. Now, under US law, this is where things get serious. Defamation requires a false statement presented as fact, published to others, that harms someone's reputation.
For the last 3 years now, my sister has been posting online about us, about my husband, lying about him, saying that he has been unfaithful, and posting my private medical information online.
She has crossed a major line. So when the judge turns to Grace and asks why she's been posting all this online, Grace doesn't deny it. Instead, she doubles down. She claims she's simply telling the truth. And this is where the case takes a dramatic turn. Grace tells the court that she warned Katherine from the beginning not to marry Richard, that he was no good, but then she drops a bombshell. She claims that 2 years into the marriage, Richard approached her and asked her to be his side girlfriend.
Then 2 years in, 2021, Richard pulled me aside one day and asked me to be his side girlfriend.
Wait a minute. So 2 years into their marriage, Richard pulls you aside and says he wants you to be the side piece.
Yes, because he's no good, like I said the first time.
And according to Grace, they had a physical relationship for 6 months. Now pause here, because this is the core of the entire case. If this claim is true, then legally it is not defamation. Truth is an absolute defense under US defamation law. But if it's false, then this becomes a deliberate attempt to destroy someone's marriage and reputation. Richard immediately denies everything. He looks the judge in the eye and says clearly, it never happened. And now the courtroom shifts from accusation to credibility.
Your Honor, this truth teller has had it out for me since day one.
And why do you think so? What's going on with this?
I don't know.
She's jealous.
Are you married? Do you have a husband?
I'm divorced.
Divorced. Were you divorced at the time that you were giving all this advice?
Yeah.
So you couldn't keep a marriage together, but yet you're telling them how they should do their marriage.
As the arguments continue, Grace tries to justify her actions. She claims she's always been the truth teller in the family. Someone who speaks honestly, even when it hurts. But Judge Hatchett isn't buying that justification. Because even if we momentarily consider Grace's argument, there's another legal issue here. Posting someone's private medical condition online, especially in a mocking or humiliating way, can contribute to reputational harm and emotional distress. While not always defamation on its own, in combination with false accusations, it strengthens the plaintiff's case significantly. Then the court hears from another sister, Marie, who supports Grace's character, saying she often tells the truth.
I'm here because Grace asked me. They have been out of communication for a long time. Honestly, Judge, I don't know the truth, but I know in the past she has told the truth in almost every situation in our family.
But even she admits something critical, she does not actually know whether Grace's claims about Richard are true. And that matters because in a court of law, claims need evidence, not just personality. Then comes one of the most damaging pieces of evidence. Katherine presents actual social media posts where Grace publicly mocked her illness and suggested that her husband was cheating. Statements like, "There's nothing quite like surviving your husband's cheating and Crohn's disease at the same time." At this point, the damage isn't theoretical anymore, it's documented. Now, from a legal standpoint, the judge has to evaluate 3 key things. Were the statements presented as facts? Were they harmful to reputation? And most importantly, were they true? Grace insists they are true, but she provides no proof. And Richard firmly denies the affair. So now the court is left with serious allegations, but zero evidence to support them. And in US law, that's critical because the burden of proving truth as a defense falls on the person making the statement. Then we reach the final moment. Judge Hatchett delivers her verdict, and it's strong. She rules in favor of Richard and Katherine. Not only does she award the $6,000 claimed, she increases the penalty to $10,000 and then further to $20,000 due to Grace's behavior in court and her lack of remorse.
You are going to absolutely pay the $6,000 for defamation. In fact, I'm going to round it up to $10,000 just because I think that you have gone out of your way. If it were true, you didn't have a damn bit of business putting it out on the internet. How dare you do that? How dare you be hurtful? If you keep shrugging your shoulders, it's going to be $20,000 before you get out of here. Oh, roll your eyes, $20,000.
And the reasoning behind this is important. The judge makes it clear, even if the statements had been true, publicly broadcasting deeply personal and damaging information like this, especially in a vindictive way, is unacceptable. But in this case, the bigger issue is that Grace failed to prove her claims, which means legally, her statements are treated as false and defamatory. And that's why she's held liable. The judge also highlights something powerful: intent. This wasn't seen as harmless honesty, it was seen as deliberate harm. A calculated attempt to hurt her sister, and that's why the damages were increased. In the end, this case teaches a very clear legal lesson. Freedom of speech does not protect you from consequences when your words harm others, especially when you present serious accusations as facts without proof. In US defamation law, truth protects you. But if you cannot prove it, the law will not protect you. And in this courtroom, that distinction cost Grace Taylor $20,000. So the real question is, was this ever about truth, or was it about revenge? And more importantly, in today's world of social media, how many people are making the same mistake without realizing the legal consequences? If you found this case interesting and want more real courtroom breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe to Courtroom Drama, like this video, and let me know in the comments, do you think the judge made the right decision?